Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video we're going to go over how to create your own notifications using Flying Oranger. And the example that we're going to be doing is we want to notify ourselves every time there's a new top video on the subreddit Our Videos. I just installed a fresh version of Flying Oranger, so let's right click the app, go to Apps, and then Edit Apps. Now you'll see some files in this folder. Every JavaScript file is an app that runs with Flying Oranger. So to get started, we're going to copy one of those apps and we're going to rename it to the name of our app. So that's going to be Top Videos. Okay, so let's open our JavaScript file in our favorite code editor and clear out everything that was there before. Alright, so for this part of the video, I'm going to be copying and pasting some of the code, and that's just so I can explain it easier. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap our code in something called module.exports. And the next thing we're going to do is find the URL for what we want to query on Reddit. So let's go to Reddit, /our videos, top, and then let's select week. Alright, so this is our entire URL. So let's copy that, go back to our editor. Alright. We're going to break this URL up into two different parts, path and query. So for the first part, we're only looking for what's ever after the .com and before the question mark. And then for the next part, for the queries, we're looking at everything after the question mark. We add an interval to tell Flying Oranger how often to query Reddit on a request. Now, Reddit has some rules about it, so you can only make 30 requests a minute. So in general, it's a good idea to make this interval pretty high, about 60 or 120. However, for the sake of demonstration, we're going to leave it at 5. Alright, so lastly, we're going to add a callback function. And this function gets called every time Reddit returns information to Flying Oranger. So the first argument, data, is all the posts, and the second argument, helper, is an object that I created for you guys to make it a little bit easier to develop. In order to understand more about the data object and what you can access about a post, let's go on a field trip over to Our Videos. And right before the queries, we're going to throw a .json. Now, this is all the information that's sent to us from Reddit. And if we look at this formatted, you can actually understand what's going on. And the most important part to look at is this children object. This children object contains all the posts for the subreddit. And so if we look at one of these objects, we can see that under data, there's all the information. So subreddits, likes, gilded, archived, over 18. There's a whole bunch of different stuff you can look at. Now that's cool, but you don't need all that information. So I've outlined kind of the most important things that you might want to look at in these data objects. We have the ID of the post, which is unique to it, the score, whether or not it's a self-post, the title, and then the link of the post. Alright, so now that we understand what the data object is, let's go ahead and finish developing our app. The first thing we're going to do is check that we actually got some posts from Reddit. So we do that by checking the length property of the data object. Next, we're going to grab the first element from a data object, which happens to be the top post on the subreddit. So the last thing we're going to do is notify the user that we have a new top post. So we're going to type helper.notify, new top post, that's what's going to fly across the screen, and then the URL to the video. Now in order to test our application, this is what we're going to do. So go back to Flying Oranger, go to Edit Apps, and here's the app we just created. And what we're going to do is we're going to first close the current running Flying Oranger. And now you're going to open up a terminal. If you're on Windows, all you have to do is hold Shift, right click, and then go to Open Command Window here. And what you're going to do is you're going to type CD with 2 periods, and then you're going to type node Flying Oranger. And the reason we're doing it this way instead of just starting the application is that normally when the application runs, if there's any errors, it hides those errors from the user. But if you run it this way, you'll see all the errors on your screen. So let's go ahead and run the application. As you can see, it started. And there we go, we have a new top video, and if we right click, we can open that up. And that's the top video on our videos right now. And if you might have just noticed, it actually notified us twice. And there's the third time. So we can actually fix that. So let's exit our application and go back. In order to fix this problem, what we're going to do is we want to save something about the latest top post so that next time our function is run, we know whether or not we've already notified the user. So what we're going to do is, after we grab the first post, we're going to grab the old post ID. And what we're going to do is we're going to check to see whether or not they're equal. So we're going to say if newest post .id is not equal to old post ID, then we're going to notify the user. And what we're also going to do is we're going to save the newest post ID. So we're going to use the helper .set, and we're going to say old post ID, and then put the newest post .id in there. And so what that's going to do is it's going to save this ID for next time, and as you can see, we're going to get it next time, and then we're going to compare it to the top post returned from Reddit. And if we have a new top post, which means that the IDs are not equal, only then are we going to notify the user. Alright guys, that's all for today. Thanks for listening. Just remember, there's a bunch of documentation on GitHub and another example and some documentation. And if you need any help, just open up an issue on GitHub or just message me on Reddit. I'll leave that information below. And really, if you just need anything, if you have no idea what you're doing, or if you have a cool idea, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you. And yeah, so thanks guys.